They say reality cracked for exactly 4 minutes and 13 seconds. A moment when shadows moved like liquid and light bent in ways it shouldn't. When it was over, 80,000 people had changed. The government calls them spatial manipulation anomalies. The media calls them powered individuals. They call themselves Parallaxers. I document their stories, not because I want to, but because they demand to be told. The shadows whisper them to me. The spaces between moments reveal them, and reality itself seems to be using my words as a blueprint for something larger. These are their stories, or maybe their warnings, or maybe they're prophecies of what's still to come. These are the Parallaxers. Not everyone becomes extraordinary during the apocalypse. Sometimes you have to watch it happen to your family instead. I've been documenting the parallax event for months. Stories of reality benders, time manipulators, people discovering impossible abilities. But Dominique Reyes' story keeps appearing in my notes, even though she never manifested powers. The shadows that whisper to me are insistent about her importance, though they won't say why. Let me tell you about a young woman who works at Best Buy, who tastes her sister's shadow-carried food to make sure it hasn't lost its connection to normal flavors. About someone who helps her brother remember what machines sounded like before they started begging for his attention. About remaining an anchor when reality itself is learning new ways to drift. The shadows grow restless as I write this. They want you to understand that this isn't just another parallax story. This is about the spaces between extraordinary and ordinary. About the people who keep powered individuals connected to their humanity. Let me tell you about Dominique Reyes, who never became a parallaxer but might be exactly what this transforming world needs most.
They say only about 0.01% of the world's population manifested powers after the event. Statistics don't mention how many families it tore apart. How many of us were left watching our siblings become extraordinary, while we stayed painfully, brutally normal? My name is Dominique Reyes, and I'm the only one in my family who didn't become a parallaxer. My older sister Isabella can create doorways between any two shadows. My little brother Marco talks to machines like they're pets. Even my mom developed some kind of emotional resonance ability. She always knows exactly what we're feeling, no matter how well we hide it. Must be fun for her, constantly sensing my cocktail of envy and shame.
It's not a competition, Dom,
Isabella says, stepping out of my bedroom shadow even though I specifically bought blackout curtains to prevent this.
Everyone's got their own path.
Easy for her to say. She's 23 and already making 6 figures as a specialized courier for tech companies. Turns out the ability to instantly transport sensitive materials through shadows is pretty valuable in Silicon Valley. Marco's only 15, but he's got MIT begging him to enroll early. Something about his ability to optimize quantum computing through empathetic resonance with artificial intelligence. Me, I'm 20, working at Best Buy, and still living at home. But hey, I get a discount on electronics my little brother can sweet talk into working better than they were designed to.
I brought Thai food,
Isabella says, holding up a bag that probably came from an actual restaurant in Bangkok.
Want to talk about it?
About what? How you can literally step through shadows while I can't even get promoted to shift manager? Or how about how Marco got another patent approved yesterday? He's 15, Bella. 15. She sighs, setting down the food.
You know what's funny? Marco's convinced you're the lucky one.
Right, because being ordinary is such a blessing.
Because you still get to be yourself. He has to wear damping headphones just to go to the mall. All those machines screaming for attention, begging him to fix them, optimize them, love them. He hasn't slept through the night since the event.
I want to stay angry, but guilt creeps in. Last week, I found Marco in the garage at 3 a.m. crying while he tried to comfort our old Toyota about its failing transmission. The car's been running perfectly since, but Marco had migraines for days. And you? I ask. Any downsides to being able to bypass all known security systems and physical limitations?
You mean besides BACR constantly trying to recruit me? Or the fact that every criminal organization in the world would love to get their hands on a shadow walker? Or how about the nightmares about what lives in the spaces between shadows?
She shudders. And for a moment I see something in her eyes. A darkness that has nothing to do with her powers.
Last week I made a wrong turn between shadows. Ended up somewhere else. Somewhere shadows don't work the same way. Took me 6 hours to find my way back. Mom felt my terror the whole time but couldn't do anything about it.
I didn't know about that. Haven't been around much lately, trying to avoid family dinners where Marco makes the microwave tell jokes and Isabella casually mentions jumping to Paris for lunch. Still better than being useless, I mutter, but there's less conviction now.
You really think you're useless?
She pulls out her phone, shows me a text conversation. It's from Marco. Can you check on Dom? The house's security system is worried about him. Says he's been staying up late looking at websites about experimental procedures to trigger powers asterisk. My face burns. He's got the electronics spying on me now.
They do it because they care about you, not just the machines, all of us. Mom's been feeling your pain for months but didn't want to pressure you. Marco's been trying to give you space while keeping an eye out. And me.
She gestures at the Thai food.
I've been picking up your favorite comfort foods from around the world, hoping you'd talk to me.
About what? About how it feels to be the family disappointment?
About how it feels to be the family anchor.
She touches my arm.
Dom, do you know why I always bring you food directly from other countries? Why I don't just order local?
I shake my head.
Because you're the only one I trust to tell me if I'm starting to lose touch with the normal world. Marco's half living in machine space these days. Mom's so tuned into emotions she sometimes forgets about physical needs entirely. But you keep us human.
By being defective?
By being normal. By reminding us what we used to be. What most of the world still is.
She pulls more containers from the bag.
Like right now, I brought pad thai from Bangkok, green curry from Chiang Mai, and mango sticky rice from this little street cart I found in Phuket. But I need you to tell me if they're actually good, because lately everything from the shadow realm tastes normal to me, and regular food is starting to taste like shadows.
The admission hangs there. I look at my sister, really look at her for the first time in months. There are dark circles under her eyes that no amount of shadow walking can escape. Her hands shake slightly as she opens the containers.
Marco can't eat in restaurants anymore,
She continues.
Too many desperate machines begging for attention. Mom can't watch movies. Feels every actor's emotions like they're real. But you can still experience the world the way it's meant to be experienced. That's not nothing, Dom.
I want to argue, but the smell of real Thai food hits me and my stomach growls. The pad Thai first, I say finally. Let's see if your shadow jumping affected the noodle texture. She smiles, relieved. We eat in silence for a while, me describing every flavor, her taking notes. Eventually, Marco wanders in, drawn by the smell of food and the promise of normal human conversation. He's wearing his industrial-grade headphones, but I can still hear faint, electronic whining from every device in the house.
The microwave says you skipped breakfast. Again.
He says, stealing a spring roll. Tell it to mind its own cooking times, I reply, but there's no heat in it. Mom appears in the doorway next, probably drawn by the complex emotional dynamics. She looks tired. She's always tired these days, carrying everyone's feelings, but she smiles at the sight of all of us together. The curry's getting cold, I say, pulling out another chair, and someone needs to tell me if Isabella's really been shadow walking to Thailand or if she's just hitting up the place down the street.
Actually,
Isabella says, looking sheepish.
I could use help with that too. The shadows. They've started feeling more real than the places they connect to. Sometimes I'm not sure where I actually got the food from.
The dumplings last week were definitely from Chen's around the corner, I tell her. No way those were from Shanghai.
Really?
She looks relieved and worried at the same time.
I could have sworn.
Trust me, I'm the normal one, remember. Regular human taste buds, no shadow influence. She nods, scribbling another note. Marco takes off his headphones long enough to try some pad thai, while Mom just sits with us, probably enjoying the momentary peace in our emotional atmosphere. They're still extraordinary, and I'm still ordinary. But maybe, just maybe, they need my ordinary as much as I envied their extraordinary.
Hey, Dom.
Marco says suddenly, headphones back on. I look at my siblings, one losing herself to shadows, one drowning in machine noise, and our mother, who carries the weight of all our feelings. Yeah, I say. Someone needs to make sure we're watching it right.
Author's note: the Reyes family continues to walk the line between extraordinary and ordinary. Local restaurants report occasional confusion when Isabella tries to pay with currency from other countries, convinced she just picked up takeout from abroad. The family's electronics run at unprecedented efficiency, though visitors note they all seem to perk up when Dominic enters a room. Their mother still feels everything, but these days there's more joy than pain to process. I've documented hundreds of Parallaxers since the event, each one unique, each power tied to trauma or transformation. But this story, this one feels like a turning point. The shadows gather more densely when I try to write it, as if reality itself is paying attention. They won't let me write their name. Every time I try, my pen skips or my keyboard glitches. The shadows say names have power, and this particular story carries enough power already. So let me tell you about someone who sees the patterns in other people's abilities, who can touch two powers and create a third that shouldn't exist. Something is different about this account. The shadows aren't just showing me what happened, they're showing me possibilities, futures that might exist if certain powers combine, realities that could form if abilities remember they were once part of something larger. I find myself writing in circles, trying to capture something that doesn't want to be captured. The shadows grow more insistent, more urgent. They want this story told, but they want it told carefully. As if the very act of documenting it might trigger whatever comes next. Let me tell you about a catalyst, about evolution wearing human skin, about someone who runs from both sides because neither understands what they really are.
I'm watching two Parallaxers shake hands at a coffee shop when their powers accidentally merge. The barista who can make plants grow and the businessman who controls temperature. Their casual contact creating someone who can manipulate biological growth rates through heat regulation. Neither of them notices. They just feel a slight tingle, maybe a momentary dizziness. But I see it happen. I always see it. That's my curse. I don't just observe power combinations, I can recreate them. Take parallaxer abilities and merge them into new forms. BACR calls it power synthesis. The Displacement Underground calls it the next evolution. I call it a fucking nightmare, because everyone wants to either study me or use me. You try sleeping when both the government and the resistance are hunting you. When every powered person you touch could give you a new ability you didn't ask for. When you can feel the combinations building up inside you like a pressure cooker about to explode. Last week, I accidentally merged a guy who could talk to machines with a woman who manipulated emotions. Now I can feel the depression of every broken-down car I pass. Yesterday, I brushed against someone who could manipulate gravity and someone who could create force fields. The resulting power almost tore apart a city block. I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is... Actually, no names. Names are dangerous when you're being hunted. The government has parallaxers who can track people through written words. The resistance has someone who can taste lies. Better to stay anonymous. Right now, I'm in Seattle, or what's left of it after the event. The coffee shop is my third today. I keep moving, never staying anywhere too long. There's a BACR containment team 4 blocks away. I can feel their powers like a storm front approaching. The agent who can detect other parallaxers, the one who can nullify abilities, the tacticals with their enhanced strength and speed. I check my phone. Another message from the displacement underground. We can protect you. Meet us. Yeah, right, like I'm going to trust the people who tried to kidnap me in Portland. Raylan Weaver might be fighting the good fight, but some of her people are getting desperate. They see me as a weapon, a way to create an army of multi-powered soldiers. The barista and businessman leave. Their new combined power fades like an echo, but I've already cataloged it, filed it away with all the others. I can feel them in there, hundreds of possible combinations waiting to be expressed. Some beautiful, some terrible. All dangerous. That's the thing they don't understand. These powers weren't meant to combine. Each one is tied to the person who manifested it, shaped by their psyche, their needs, their trauma. When I force them together, it's like trying to merge souls. The result is always unstable. The containment team is getting closer. 3 blocks now. I down my coffee and head for the back door, but freeze when I see 2 people from the displacement underground watching the alley. I recognize the woman who can phase through walls and the guy who can create duplicates of himself. Their combined power would let me exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Part of me wants to try it. That's the other problem. The powers are addictive. Each new combination is a rush, a high better than any drug. Sometimes I wake up feeling like a junkie, craving just one more merge, one more synthesis. The power builds and builds until... A year ago, I almost died when I tried combining too many at once. 7 different abilities, all fighting for control. The resulting explosion put me in a coma for 2 weeks. When I woke up, BACR was there waiting. They built a special containment cell, brought in experts to study me. I escaped, but sometimes I wonder if I should have stayed. At least there I couldn't hurt anyone. The containment team turns onto my street. 2 blocks. In the alley, the underground operatives are moving closer. I'm running out of options. That's when I see him. A kid, maybe 16, sitting alone at a corner table. He's glowing faintly, new to his powers. Probably doesn't even realize he's manifesting. But what I see around him stops me cold. He's a catalyst like me, another power synthesist. He looks up, meets my eyes. He sees what I am too. For a moment, we just stare at each other, recognizing ourselves like mirrors. Then I feel it. Our powers reaching for each other, trying to combine. The resulting synthesis would be astronomical, reality-shaking. The containment team is a block away. The underground agents are at the back door. I have to choose. But the kid is shaking his head. He knows what I know. If 2 catalysts merge powers, there's no telling what would happen. It could make us gods. It could tear reality apart. Better not to find out. I nod slightly and turn away. Head for the side exit instead. Behind me, I feel the kid's power signature fade as he slips out another door. Smart. Stay hidden, stay alive. The containment team bursts into the coffee shop just as I merge the abilities of a speed manipulator I passed this morning with a spatial warper from yesterday. The combination lets me fold space around my movement, covering blocks in microseconds. I'm 6 streets away before they realize I'm gone. The underground agents will track me, of course. BACR will analyze every security camera. But I've gotten good at disappearing, at staying just ahead of everyone who wants to use me. Sometimes I wonder how many others like me are out there. Other catalysts, hiding their abilities, running from both sides. Maybe we should find each other, build something together. But that would just make us a bigger target. Better to stay scattered, stay hidden. Still, that kid, the look in his eyes. He understood something I've been fighting for months. Our power isn't just synthesis. It's evolution. The ability to merge powers isn't random. It's the next step. Reality trying to create something new. But evolution is painful. Messy. Not everyone survives the change. My phone buzzes. Another message from the underground, an alert about BACR movement patterns, a new offer of sanctuary. I delete them all and drop the phone in a trash can. They'll have to do better than that. I feel the combined powers fade as I walk, but new possibilities are already building. A woman who can manipulate electricity passes me, brushing against a man who can reshape metal. The potential synthesis blazes in my mind. The power to create living machines, to infuse technology with organic properties. I keep walking. Some combinations are better left unmade. For now.
Author's note: BACR maintains classified files on an unknown number of power synthesis subjects, though many researchers believe there is only one. However, certain probability analysts have noted that new, seemingly impossible power combinations continue to appear in the powered population, as if someone, or something, is quietly seeding evolution into the system itself. I find myself drawn back to these two stories. One about staying normal in an evolving world, the other about catalyzing that evolution itself. The shadows gather more densely as I write this, suggesting these accounts are connected in ways I don't yet understand. Dominique Reyes, anchoring her family to their humanity as reality learns new ways to bend, and our nameless catalyst, running from both sides while carrying the potential to reshape everything. The shadows whisper that these aren't just parallel stories, they're intersecting threads in a tapestry that's still being woven. My notes keep shifting when I'm not looking. I'll find equations written in margins I didn't fill, diagrams showing power combinations I never drew. The shadows grow agitated when I notice these details, as if I'm seeing something too soon. Tonight, as I write this, my pen keeps drawing fractals on its own. The shadows are showing me something about anchors and catalysts, about how evolution requires both those who transform and those who remember what we used to be. These stories will find their way to those who need to read them. The shadows will make sure of that. This is the Parallaxers.